Hi everyone, it's Miss Mariah from the Allen County Public Library coming to you from my art room in my house again. This time I am doing an art project for Miss Chelsea's Adult Summer Reading Program. It's about folk art. And as you know, we're touching on folk art, fairy tales, the Grimm tales. She did a very interesting video last week talking about the Grimm brothers and the tales that they wrote and how they differ from today's fairy tales. So I told her I would do a folk art painting for her class. I chose to go with crows. And a lot of you know that crows are a big symbol in folk art, especially around these parts. A lot of homes you go into and there's pictures, prints, paintings, statuettes of crows. It's just part of our culture. That's one of the main things about folk art is it varies from region to region. It has different things that mean more to that region. We tend to lean more toward the mountain regions. A lot of our folk art and our culture come from the Native Americans, the Irish, the Scottish, the Germans that settled in the Appalachian Mountains and slowly migrated over here. So that's where we get a lot of our folk art. The primitive and folk art kind of go hand in hand, and this is a little primitive. Primitive was a really big thing a few years ago. Everybody had something primitive in their house. The stars, the flags, the crows. So here we are. The original photograph that I took this from had like 4 or 5 crows sitting on the piece of watermelon. But I'm using an 11 by 14 canvas. And when I drew my watermelon wedge on there, I was like, I really want this watermelon wedge to have some detail, to be bigger. So when I did that and I started sketching out my crow, I was like, I only get 3 in there. But the good thing about crow and the number 3, supposedly it represents health. So 1, they say, 1 is bad luck, 2 is good luck, 3 is good health, 4 is good wealth. So depends on why, you know, or who, what your reason is. You can put whatever number of crows you want in there. It's okay with me. If you're not going to hurt my feelings, as long as you have a good time and you enjoy yourself, it's all good. Any of you that have taken my classes in the past know the first thing I say is, it's your painting. Do with it what you want, because it's going to hang in your house. Secondly, don't freak out. It's just colors and shapes. So here we go. Now, I'm going to start out first by sketching out the outline of the painting. Okay? Got my trusty number 2 with a good eraser. What I did was I just came out. Let's just do this. We'll go halfway down the canvas, give or take. We're just gonna draw a straight edge. Look, now I kind of got out of straight-ish kind of line, but there you go. Then I'm gonna come over maybe a little more than 1/2 inch, and I'm just gonna round there, see? And then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Okay, and at the end of the video, I'll have a photograph of that painting as a sketch. So that way you can look at it and do it from it. Then the bottom of the watermelon is flat. So do that. Take care of this little dog tail over here. Okay, so looks sort of like, I don't know, a bowl or a boat or something. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to come out. Let's see. I'm going to make that more angled. See, that's why always good to have a good pen or eraser. I apologize. There you go. So I'm going to do the same over here. Just angle it a little bit more. Come down, let's see, maybe I'll cut a little bit off that corner too. And like I said, I'll have a photograph at the end. Okay, so we got our watermelon wedge. And I don't know if you can see, but Ronnie's laying back there asleep behind the easel. So he'll probably make an appearance, and I apologize. Yeah, my black cat. Okay, so we just sketched out this part and we made our horizon line, okay? Now, we're gonna start with him. You see he has kind of a pear shape. Sorry, Ronnie, you have to move your leg. Okay, so, let's just set this here where we can kind of eyeball it a little bit. So, I'm gonna come. And it also reminds me, if you've ever seen the movie To Kill a Mockingbird, when she's dressed up like the ham at the end of the movie, it's kind of got that ham shape. Whatever works, right? So I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to kind of loop down, and it comes down a little bit. Like that. Although, I don't know, I want to thicken him up. Make it not so narrow, you know, there at the neck. Because he's a healthy crow. He's been eating. He's probably driving some farmer crazy, right? And this part I had a lot of difficulty with, because, you know, I don't know why I did. But it took me several times sketching it out to get the shape I really wanted. Okay. So you can see that shape, and that shape's different. Not one single time have I done a program like this. The original, mine, and the one I did for the class looked the same. It just didn't. And I don't know why. Okay, so I'm gonna come down here, give him some legs. Okay, just like that. Okay. Then I got this little guy, he's turned toward him, so I'm gonna just swoop down here, come around that way, and then I'm gonna put his little tail feathers as a peak over here. Let's see. Go ahead and sketch out his beak, and I might come back again and tweak it, but I don't know, that looks pretty good. And I don't want his head to look more like a cardinal. So there. And we're gonna take that line out. And again, I'm just gonna do two little weird triangle things down here. There's little legs. Okay. Now that one, I'm hearing a sound outside my window. It's probably a bird in that bush, and Ronnie's not having it. Okay, sort of like like you would with an upside down carrot for a snowman. I want it a little pointy. Okay, that. And then this little guy over here. Again, I'm going to start at the bottom and just come around and put his little belly and his neck. I'll stop right there. I'm going to go ahead and draw his beak in. Okay, and I'll kind of shaping all that up. And of course, there will be a black outline. I think that's why I like folk art so much, because it kind of has a lot of the same stuff that I enjoy in it. All right, yeah, let's clean up that beak. Let's clean up that beak. It's a little pointed, so I'm going to round it off a little bit. Because the shape of a bird's head really, because you got your cardinals and your blue jays that are a little more pointed, and we don't want somebody to be like, well, that cardinal she drew would be nice if she didn't paint it black. So we've got him a little tail here, and then I'm going to do the little weird triangle here and here for his legs. Okay. And like I said, at the end, I'll have just a picture of this one as I sketched it out. So now we've got our watermelon wedge. We've got our 3 crows. And now we're going to get to painting. The most fun part of all of this, right? So I'm going to take this guy and set it back here as reference. Now I'm going to let you know, this painting caused me a little grief, because I started one way and then ended up realizing I'm going to have to go another way. All right, so we're going to get to painting our, okay, we are ready. I have put red, orange, yellow, white, and a beige. Let's see what that's actually called. The raw sienna, okay? This is what I'm going to use as the background behind the watermelon. The table and the background. Okay, so I'm going to use a round brush, because what I did in the original one, I did the background and like I tried to do it solid and it just didn't look right. So I went back over it and I dabbed and I splotched and it turned out a lot better. I've even got some clean water, so if it's looking a little thick, I mix a little water and it helps spread everything out. This would also be a very good watercolor painting if you decided to go that way. I'm not that brave yet with watercolor. One day I will, and one day I'll try it, and we'll have a program on it. All right, so I'm just gonna load this brush up with the orange. And I'm just gonna dab it. And I did color the edges of that. I might do that here, I don't know. It just all depends. It all depends on my mood. Isn't that right, Ronnie Wayne? He's decided to come over and love on me because I'm talking and he realizes like I'm alone. But he thinks I'm talking to him. Or he just might feel sorry for me, I don't know. Okay, so I'm dabbing. And it, you know, and you'll see, like, I'm not, you know, I'm not drawing a straight line and trying to keep from, because also another good thing about these type of paintings, you know, if something's not perfect, it just kind of fits in, you know. I'm going to make sure though that these edges are good. And who knows, after I get done filming the video, I might go in and just do just dab along the edge with maybe the orange or yellow or something. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying not to keep y'all all night on YouTube. I was so happy when Miss Chelsea asked me to help her with this. As you guys know, I love to paint, and I love to see what other people paint and what they come up with. And ever since the coronavirus has closed everything down, it has really made me sad. And I've talked to a lot of other people in the art community, and they're feeling the same way. Not a lot of people that I know personally are putting out a lot of art right now. Their inspirations just aren't there. So now I'm putting some yellow to it. Just dabbing in some yellow. Just kind of, you know, like I said, there's nothing uniform. There's nothing right or wrong to this technique. You're just adding color. So I'm just adding my yellow right now. And I'm so glad I realized how, you know, what I messed up on when I was doing that one, because it was actually taking a really long time, and I was like, I don't know how long I can keep everybody hostage, you know. Now I'm gonna add a little bit, not much, just a little bit of red here and there, just kind of, because I don't want it to be very dark. I might even just do it in the corners, you know. It's not about that dabbing motion. It excites me. I like it. Okay. And I might, for just a second, leave this part alone and go up here, and I'm going to take my orange, get some yellow, mix it in, because I want this top part to be lighter, okay? So we're just gonna, and I might even add some white. In fact, I think I might go ahead and throw the white to it right now. There we go. And we'll get, and of course he's gonna be black, so if you get a little bit over that line, it's okay. He'll be fine. And that's what I've learned about doing the programs at the library, is I never go into any of my painting programs blind. The painting that I'm gonna ask you to do, I've done myself, okay? So I'm not gonna walk in and be like, hey, we're all gonna do this. Now there is one type of painting that all I can do is practice the technique, but the pour painting, of course, those of you that have done that know there's no way that you can replicate somebody else's. You might do it the exact same way, same process, layers of color, and yours is gonna look totally different. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little more white in here. And you see that I'm just dabbing. And I'm even using the flatness of my brush. So, and I've got a smaller brush that I'll come around so that I'm not taking too much liberty and getting over into my other subjects. Ooh, this turned out pretty nice. I like that. Yes, I am so looking forward to when everyone can get back together, and hopefully next adult summer reading program we can do these together at the library, which I don't mind doing that at my house with my kitty cat, but I sure do miss everybody. The thing about folk art is it doesn't have to be painting. A lot of folk art is quilting, cross stitching, the big wooden dough bowls that people you'll see on a lot of kitchen tables around this area. That's considered a type of folk art. Candle making is considered folk art. So folk art can be many things and have many uses. You can do something like this, which its use is just going to be to decorate your home, or with a blanket or a pillow or something like that. You can actually use that, you know, on your bed and for warmth, things like that. I have my grandmother's rowing pin, and I'm just very grateful to have that, because to me that is part of my family's history, my culture. And even though I don't make homemade biscuits, I have tried. I think you could have, Wayne Gretzky probably could have used it playing hockey, but it looks nice in my kitchen, and like I said, it's a part of a family, a part of the side of a family that I don't know a whole lot about. So that kind of keeps me grounded. Okay. Yeah, if you can know as much as, know about, you know, your family, know about your culture, know about if somebody was going to do folk art and use your family as the subject, know what they're about to make, you know. I know a lot of people in this area have a lot of Native American art because, you know, their families were Native American. Okay, so we'll put that in there. So it's all splotchy and just fun, and there it is. Okay, that is the background and the bottom. So, let me look here. What do I want to go with next? Let's do the red. I've already got it out right here. I'm gonna get a smaller brush. Oh yeah, that's quite a bit smaller. Okay. And you know, I've already got, so I'm gonna set it right here on the edge of my easel so that I can have some stability. And I'm just gonna dab along in here. Of course, their legs are gonna be black, but I'm gonna try to keep it as clean as possible, you know. Ronnie's over here being cute, got his little head turned upside down. No, don't grab my arm. Okay, so I'm just coming down And I do apologize for the time on this, but this is, once you get it done, you're going to be like, wow, I really enjoyed that. Okay, so I know I'm going to leave a little bit of an edge here because I want to work on my rind. So I'm going to just come along here. Along this guy's leg. Come up. Alright. So I'm going to take a little bit of my white, just touched it to the tip there. And I'm just going to mute that red a little bit, but you can see I'm not doing it all over. I'm just doing it here and there. Okay, I'm going to start over here on this guy. I think Ronnie's done with me. I'm not going to play with him, so he thought he'll go in there. Okay, so I'm coming up along the edge, and remember, there's always that trusty black line that's going to outline everything, so you don't have to worry about that. A little bit of white. Kind of clean this edge up down here, because again, you know, this painting's not going to be totally uniformed. It's not going to be straight lines and exact shapes and, you know, all that, but I kind of want to keep myself grounded at where I want to start my rind at. Actually, the rind was the hardest part for me. And that's probably where our water is going to come in at. Just to kind of help blend. Because the rind is pretty fluid. There's actually a lot of colors in the rind. Now this thing about folk art, it's really forgiving, I guess is a good word. The old men that would set up here off the square, a lot of y'all that remember that, the whittlers at Marsh's and the National Store up on the square. Yes, we actually used to have benches on the square, and people, well, not people, older men would set up there during the day, older retired men, and they would whittle. And it was always so funny as a child looking at these older men thinking, don't they have somewhere to be? Don't they, you know? And they were exactly where they wanted to be. All right. So now I've got my red. Now I'm going to take a little bit of black, just a smidge for this part. Bright green. Light olive green, which any green will work. So just keep that in mind. Don't think, oh, she's using this. You don't have to do that. Okay, let's see here. And then we're going to, I've already got some yellow and some white. Okay, and then next step will be, okay, are we ready to paint the rind? So I've got a very small, thin brush. It's a number 9. Yeah, number 9. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go along the edge, like this right here. With the dark sap green. Okay. And go here. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit of black, kind of darken it, kind of cover up with that orange. It's coming through. Okay. Got a little crazy there. That's okay. All right, so we've got the dark part of our rind. I'm just gonna wipe my brush off. And let's see, I'm gonna put that in the water. I'm gonna get that other one, the one we use for our background. And we'll try something here, okay? This right here, I'm gonna try. Okay, so I'm gonna take that sap green and I'm just gonna dab it all in there, just like that. And I'm gonna just come along, down around, you know, the edges there where I just did the black and the sap green already. Can you see that? Just like that. Just keep dabbing along. Just like that. Ronnie has joined us back up here on the table, taking his little kitty nap. Cats, or sometimes cats and dogs, are used in folk art. Okay, so there's our first layer of green. Now I'm gonna go to, and I'm thinking, let's go to this light green. I'm just gonna fill in a little bit. Not a lot, not a lot. Roll of thunder outside. It's nice to get the rain, just kind of cool everything off. Okay, we got that. Now that light olive green, I'm just gonna add in, scooch up underneath our one little crow there. And I'm going over some of the green that we've already got on there, because here's where we start layering our greens. Luckily, there's enough humidity in the air that the paint isn't acting thick. So I haven't had to use my water yet, so that's good. So we're gonna come around and get all up in here, up underneath this other little crow over here on the edge. Okay, just like that. I'm gonna wipe my brush off because it doesn't matter if there's still paint left on there, because you know, blend it all together. I want to do a little bit of yellow, and I'm just putting it on the tip and I'm just smashing it down onto the plate. You can see my little smash marks. And we get really close to my red over here. And I'm just gonna work it in along that edge. Working it in. And some more yellow. I haven't found any really good watermelons yet this year, so it's still kind of early. You see, I'm coming up on the red a little bit. That's okay. This is not the kind of painting, if you need straight lines and paint not mixing, this is not, it's not the paint for you. Okay, and I'm just gonna dab a little yellow around, you know, make it pretty. And I might even, because it's just a tad bit dark, so I'm just going to dip my paintbrush in my white a little bit and I'm not even touching like the actual brush to the canvas yet. Okay, so I'm gonna wipe off the excess of that white. See, I just barely, and then I'm gonna take my brush and work that white in. Because I just want the appearance of white. I don't want there to be like, oh yeah, she definitely added white there, you know. Fun, fun, fun. Okay, now we have our rye. So we're gonna set that there, and we're going to get, let's see here, a number, I have no idea, ladies and gentlemen. Just this brush, just a finer tip brush. And I'm going to put, okay, just a little bit of black on the tip, just like that, see, okay. And I'm gonna make my seeds. So, since I don't have my crows painted, I'm going to use that blank space to steady my pinky. And just every so often, I'm just going to make a little line. Now, the original painting I saw of this was actually little tiny hearts. Very slender, long, narrow hearts. So if you wanted to do that, do it. I found the idea for this from Pinterest, so you could just go onto Pinterest and look up crows sitting on watermelon and you'll see so many. Yeah, so I'm just going through here. And just making my watermelon seeds. I think this is the only time that I've enjoyed having seeds in my watermelon. How about you? Just here and there and everywhere. Now, with this same brush, I'm looking, no, I think I'm gonna go even smaller. I've got this very, very fine brush. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just tapping each side of the brush into the paint. And then I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna flatten it out, okay? Then I'm gonna come right here at the edge of his little leg, make a line, and then drop the line. Just like that. And then I'm gonna do the same thing, load up my paintbrush, and then I'm gonna make a line, and then drop down and make the bottom part of his leg, okay? Then, doing the same thing with the paintbrush, I'm going to, okay, I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. I make a curved line, just like that. And then I'm going to make another curved line. So there you have his little feet. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Just like that. Okay, so we got our little crow legs. I'm loading up my paintbrush again. And this little guy, I have his legs crossed over here, so let me show you how to do that. So again, we're just gonna make a line, then we're gonna drop down, and then we're gonna have another line, and it's gonna come back over that one. Can you see that? I might make this underleg. Of course, you see what I'm running into. My paint is still tacky on the bottom. But the good thing about this, if you pull paint off, you can fill it in and nobody's ever gonna be able to tell the difference. Okay, so I'm loading up my brush again on all sides and flattening it out. So we're gonna make a curved line and then down. And this one, I'm gonna actually do it in 3 steps. Okay, just like that. Little crow skinny legs. All right, and this guy, he's not being very gentlemanlike. He just all sits sprawled out. So, loading the paintbrush again and flattening it out. We're gonna come over here and we're just gonna make a line, drop it down. Make a line, drop it down. And we're gonna make a toe here, and then a little toe out to the back, a little toe out the back, and then a toe here, and a toe here. There you go. Now, we are ready to paint our crows, which with this, easy peasy, I promise, okay? So we're gonna let this set for a moment and then we're gonna come back and paint our crows. Okay, we are back and we are going to paint our crows. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put an oval here, an oval here. Doesn't have to be perfect. Oval here, and then 2 more on this guy. So now they've had their eyes. All right, so I've got black paint on my palette. Now I'm just gonna paint these guys. And the worst thing about painting with black, especially when there's light, like the one behind me, is it tends to glare. So I'll have to take it down and have a look at it. Make sure I didn't leave a chunk out somewhere. When I had my daughter, my great uncle, who lives up in the mountain areas, brought me a very interesting baby rattle for her. And it was all one piece of wood. I've got the paperwork and her baby stuff, but for the life of me, I cannot remember what piece of wood it was. But there's seeds inside of it, but it's a solid piece of wood, and it's been carved out, you know, as a rattle, like a baby can hold it. And of course, when you shake it, you can hear those seeds inside of it. It's very, very interesting, very beautiful, light colored wood. And my grandparents grew up over in the hills, as they call them around here, so it was very nice to get that. Okay, so now I'm just coming down here and I'm filling in those, as I call, like the weird little triangle thing here. That's actually the top part of their legs. Cute, cute. I'm gonna come around and get his face. I might get a smaller brush for up there. I think I will. Okay, so it's all coming together. I did not have any doubt. I've got faith in us that these are going to turn out amazing. And I hope that you try this painting at home. And like I said, this would be a very wonderful watercolor painting, or even like a charcoal or a pastel stick. That would be something. I know Chelsea would be super excited if you guys tried this. We've all been kind of down in the dumps because, you know, we haven't been able to be with you guys. Filling this little guy in. And now I've got his legs here. I know I'm being awful quiet. I apologize. I'm concentrating. My poor daughter, I'll be painting something, she'll be trying to talk to me. And I thought in something that requires some detail or precision, I'll get it out. She's like, "You didn't even hear me, Mom." And I'm like, no, I didn't. I'm sorry. Please repeat. She's a good kid. She don't get mad at me very often when I do that. All right. curve that out there. Alrighty, look at this. Now you'll see that I do have some areas where my paints aren't meeting. At the end, what I'll do is go back around and just fill in those white spots. Not very difficult at all, especially with this painting, because like I said, it's kind of choppy looking anyway. Alright, okay, we put that in there, and I'm going to get the small brush, and I'm just loading it up with black paint, and I'm going to just go around his eyes and top of his head here. Got the first one almost done, because you know we still have the beak and the eyes and all that. Every time I do something with crows, I think about Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. Got him, and let's see, I don't know, maybe I can come out a little bit, his legs, kind of take up some of that, so I don't have to use so much red down there. Just fill all that in. Okay, now we're going to go over here. Swoop around. He's got a little bit of a tail feather over here, so we're just going to fill that in. All right, there we go. Pretty homely little fellows, aren't they? All right, so their beaks, I just painted orange. So I just a little small pointed brush here. I'm going to turn my canvas this way so I can hold on to the easel and steady myself because I've got a lot of wet paint. Now the good thing about you guys doing this at home is that you guys can stop, because I stopped between a couple of the videos to give it time to at least, you know, get tacky. But you guys can, you know, actually stop and I'll make some coffee or check the mail, you know, different, you know, whatever you do. Okay. And hammer now. And also when I think of crows, I think about hee haw. In the cornfield, telling jokes, making fun of the actors on the show. Oops, got a little black, that's okay. So I just clean my brush and I'm gonna scoop that black out of there. Just kind of blend it into the paint. Clean my brush off really well and then load it back up with orange and keep working. See, there's not a whole lot you can't fix, especially with wet paint. Okay, so we're gonna turn it back around this way. Let's see here. And like I said, yeah, you can always go back in and fix and all of that jazz. Okay, I'm cleaning my brush. In fact, since I never use that clean water, I'm gonna really clean this brush because I'm about to put the white on her eyes. Okay, I'm just gonna use the white that I already had on here. Okay, let's see, since I did him first, I'm gonna and his eyes do not have to be perfect. Okay. Put a little white on this brush. Okay, I'm gonna have to clean that eye just a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to resemble an eye, right? Right. Okay. So now we just keep adding and adding, but we've got this. So I'm a really thin brush. I'm just gonna put a little bit of black paint on there, and he's looking at these guys, so I'm just okay. This guy's kind of looking down. Oop. Of course, remember that paint's wet, so I'm dealing with that. There we go. You can hear my fingers sticking each time to the canvas. Okay, and he's kind of looking down too, so we're gonna just like that. And we'll take this flat brush and put black paint and tap it down. Okay, then I'm going to come to the bottom of his beak and draw his little mouth line. Okay, and then This one, I'm gonna start at the tip of his beak and I'm just gonna come up. Okay. Now, as I said, you can tell there are some spaces that are still a little white, so I'm gonna take one of my smaller brushes. I'm mixing up orange and yellow, and then I'm just gonna kind of, maybe I'll add a little white too, and just kind of go around him a little bit. Now this is where you run into, you know, a lot of time. That's okay. Hopefully the kids are busy doing something, or maybe they're at a grandparent's or a friend's house. Being safe, but getting a little socializing going. I think as long as you're safe, maybe hanging out with a like-minded friend is not bad. Okay, and I'm just going along the edges of the crow and just filling in those white spots. I'm actually gonna maybe put a little black there. This is why I typically don't paint on an easel, is because I get all into my paintings. And that's why every piece of pajama or just fun clothes I have are got paint on them. I do stuff like this. The next thing you know, I look over and I'm like, oh, I've got paint all over this top. So I'm just going in, taking care of some areas that need a little bit of TLC. That's okay. Scooch in there. Okay. And then down here you see around the watermelon. So I'm just gonna kind of touch in there. Get a little more red on there. Make it look more uniform. Okay. So we are finished. Okay, so what I like to do at this point is that really fine brush I had. I like to put a little black paint on it, load it up, flatten it out. Okay, I touched my shorts. Probably have paint on those now. Okay, so I'm going to go with this black brush and just do an outline around his beak. Okay, just like that. It just kind of, I don't know. Y'all know how I am about black outlines. I like them. So I'm gonna do the same thing for this guy. really, really load that brush up. And then I'm just going to kind of scooch across the top of the watermelon. Okay, just like that. Do that. Maybe a little underneath this, the two crows setting, just kind of do a little definition there. Not a lot, because, you know, like I said, this is not a definition type painting. Okay, so let me scoot this stuff over. Now remember, this one, okay, I took pretty much all day. Like, I really thought about it. I thought about, you know, what can I do to help you guys, you know, enjoy this painting more. This one I did a little quicker, right? So just remember, so the same painting done by the same artist that doesn't look the same. I mean, it has the same subjects, the same colors and all that, but it doesn't look the same. A lot of that is that one, yeah, that one, I literally sat down and I took 6 hours. And that's thinking about it, looking at it, drawing, erasing, going back over. Like I said, this background was 2 different backgrounds. I did one way and I was like, no, I really don't like that. So I did something else. This one, of course, you know, you guys were with me doing this one. So it all falls under how much time you give yourself. And, you know, like I said, wait until the kids are gone to their grandparents. Your husband is doing whatever he does, or if you know, live alone like I do. My teenage daughter's at her dad's and I sit down and I paint. Just give yourself plenty of time. Don't be too hard on yourself, because painting should never be something that causes you stress and anxiety. Painting should be something that relaxes you, brings you up to a happier, better plane, I guess you could say. It does for me. I know when I finish a painting and I post it and people are like, you know, I really, you know, either that really touched me, or oh my gosh, I really love this. And, you know, it makes my heart happy, you know, and I, you know, get that little pat on the back. So give yourself time. Think about your community, your culture, your region of the world. Think about the folk art that is in that area, and you'll start seeing it. And, you know, maybe if you do a day trip, stop somewhere and pick up a piece, a sculpture, a whatnot, a painting, a cross stitch, a needle point that represents that area, and bring a little folk art home to your home. So this has been Miss Mariah, and this is Chelsea Howard's Adult Summer Reading Program featuring folk art. Thank you.